Should probably get the thumbs stand over here.
Get Sophie too.
Yeah. The sight of Viking longships on the horizon has struck fear into the hearts of people living on the coasts of Asia to Europe for hundreds of years. The risks of being raided by these seafaring warriors were so great, and Hollywood depicts Vikings as bloodthirsty raiders. They were skilled poets as well, and they were also craftsmen, farmers, and great explorers. They were the first Americans to discover most of the undiscovered world that we know today. Today I will be discussing three main points of my speech. First, some culture about the Greenland Vikings. Second, some interesting Vikings that I found while researching. And third, important events that marked the second Viking Age. Now, according to Zach Zorich from the Greenland Vanishing Vikings in the Scientific American Journal, in late 900 AD, a group of Scandinavians sailed to the south and west coasts of Greenland. They landed in what is now known as Disco Bay, where they began hunting walruses and selling their tusks. This began the age of the second Vikings. In Greenland, there was two main settlements. It was the east and west settlements, and they were ruling for hundreds of years in Greenland. Many farmers migrated to these settlements in Greenland, looking for land that they could raise livestock on. But they soon found out that farming was difficult, and they had to drop a lot of their European customs on farming and adopt goats and sheep for their livestock and begin hunting seals for meat. Soon, churches and cemeteries began springing up, most of them for Christianity, although the religion that most Norse people followed was a heathen religion. Now, that's not the name of the actual religion, that's just what the Christians called it. According to Odensvolk.ca, they didn't have an actual name for the religion until about 1980, when it was called Asatru. Now, this religion is a polytheistic religion, which means there are numerous gods, including Odin, Thor, and Fenrir. According to Jason Urbanus, who wrote Vikings Wide Reach in the Archaeology Journal, Vikings also loved their ships, for it was a source of transportation, trade, and power. They were one of the first people to utilize the cloth sail, which allowed them to sail across open oceans and also up shallow rivers that opened up trade routes for them. They loved their ships so much that Viking men and women were often buried with their ships, with their weapons and tools and other plunder with them. Now, I want to discuss a few of the more important Vikings that I found through my weeks of research. The first one I want to talk about is Rollo, the Duke of Normandy. Now, for all you Vikings fans out there who watch it on the History Channel, and those of you that spoke up during Mrs. Oak's audience analysis forum, I'm about to ruin your lives. Rollo and Ragnar were not brothers. They weren't even living during the same time period. According to NormanDescendants.org, Rollo and his crew raided France so hard during 911 AD that the King of France gave Norway to them as a peace offering. Rollo then ruled these lands under the King of France until he was succeeded by his son William Longsword in 928 AD. The next Viking that I want to talk about is so famous that even travel agencies talk about them on their websites. According to visitgreenland.com, Eric the Red, who got his name not only for his fiery hair but his temper, was exiled with his family from Norway because his father murdered someone there. After a while, they settled into Iceland, and Eric was soon exiled from Iceland for accused manslaughter. He then sailed to the uncharted lands of Greenland. The third Viking that I want to talk to you about is probably one of the most famous Vikings. You might know him, Leif Erikson. There's a holiday even named after him that is celebrated in here. Now, according to Birgitta Wallace from Encyclopedia Britannica, Leif Erikson was an explorer, a great explorer like his dad, Eric the Red. He was considered the first European to set foot in North America and beat Christopher Columbus there by nearly 500 years. His journey took him to Baffin Island, and then from there he sailed to Newfoundland, which he named Vinland because of the abundance of grapes and berries that he found there. After some time, he brought a bunch of lumber back to Greenland, which is a precious commodity there, and he left a group of Norsemen there to explore the lands, but they were soon ran out by the natives that lived there. Now, talking about the events of the Second Viking Age, I believe that they can be split up into four main significant events. The first one being Eric the Red settling in Greenland. The second, Leif Erikson discovering the Americas. And third, according to the editors of Encyclopedia Britannica, in 1013 AD, a Viking leader named Sweyn Forkbeard became the Viking king of all of England. Now, he was dubbed as the Forgotten King, mainly due because of his reputation of unmercilessly killing women, men, children, didn't matter. He invaded England with his son, and after a very short and successful campaign, he was declared the king of all England on Christmas Day. But his reign was the shortest in all of English history, and he wasn't even king for a year before he died. From the excerpts of Gretel's Saga by Samuel Lang and Rasmus B. Anderson, in 1066 AD marked the last event of the Vikings. Harald Hardrada, which was he was dubbed the last true Viking leader. He sailed to England to reclaim the throne after King William the Confessor dies. Harold Goodwin, who was the English contender for the throne, had ambushed Hardrada on his journey over. Of Hardrada's fleet of over 300 ships and 11,000 warriors, only 24 ships survived to sail home to their homelands. This event marked the downfall of the Second Viking Age. It ended years of raiding, extortion, and bloodshed in England. Now, in conclusion, the Vikings that Hollywood depicts are poor representations of the interesting people that they actually were. And I want to leave you with a quote that I find relative to this statement. It comes from the Saga of Grettir, and it's in Norse. It says, Jolfnan halvsege saga av en seer, which means a tale is only half told when it is told by one person. Now, today in this speech, I've explained a little bit about the culture of the Greenland Vikings, some of the more interesting and interesting Vikings, and some of the events that led to their downfall. Thank you for your time and attention, and I hope that you learned a little something today, and I hope this topic was just as interesting to you as it was for me. Thanks.
Awesome. Good job, Jeff.